Hello everyone, you're welcome to this edition of The Insight. I am Babla Jonathan. In this edition of the program, we are looking at the visit of Pope Leo XIV to Cameroon. His visit to Cameroon from the 15th to the 18th of April 2026 will take him to Yaoundé, Douala, and the Northwest Regional Capital, Bamenda, and it is part of a 10-day African tour. And we're looking at the impact of the Pope's visit to the nation, Cameroon, to Cameroonians, to Christians who are in this nation, and more particularly to the Northwest and Southwest regions, two regions of the country plagued by socio-political and security tensions for over 10 years now, with a lot of human and material consequences, damage. And of course, we're looking at the mission of the Pope. And of course, his visit is focused on pastoral outreach, peace and reconciliation in a context of tension, political tension, social tensions, security tensions, and even economic tensions, with many Cameroonians who are living below the poverty line, finding it quite difficult to eat 3 square meals, to have 3 square meals a day. So in the midst of all these tensions, the Pope is coming, Pope Leo XIV. We're looking at the impact of his visit to the nation, Cameroon. Meet our guest in some few seconds. Our guest today is His Grace NKEA, Archbishop of the Bamenda Metropolitan Archdiocese of the Roman Catholic Church and President of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon. Your Grace, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jonathan.
Let's start with the ordination of the Auxiliary Bishop of Bamenda, Most Reverend John Berigny Tata, who's been ordained, and he's coming in as Auxiliary Bishop to work with you as the Archbishop. Tell us about the impact of the fact that the Bamenda Archdiocese now has an Auxiliary Bishop.
It's a very, very big joy for me to be able to have an auxiliary bishop in Bamenda. You know, before I was appointed to Bamenda, Bamenda has had auxiliary bishops for the last 12 years. But then, when I came to Bamenda, Pope Francis appointed my auxiliary bishop at the time, Bishop Michael Bibi, to the See of Boya. And since then, I have not had an auxiliary bishop because I wanted to understand the Archdiocese of Bamenda myself. And so I wanted to do a tour and visit all the nooks and crannies of this diocese to understand the challenges. And so after 5 years of being Archbishop of Bamenda, I thought it was important and very necessary to ask the Holy Father for an auxiliary. And so asking the Holy Father for an auxiliary and receiving one, it's a sign that the Holy Father understands the difficulties of the local church of Bamenda, and he wants to ease work for us. So now, instead of doing pastoral work alone, we will be 2 of us doing pastoral work. And this is the importance of this appointment, that now the church is getting the administration of the church and the administration of the sacraments very close to the Christian population.
Let me step back a little bit, Your Grace. Tell us, who is an auxiliary bishop?
Yes, from the word auxiliary itself, which comes from the Latin auxiliarum, meaning helper, and comes from auxilium, which means help, support. The auxiliary bishop is one who is appointed by the Holy Father not to an independent diocese, but to a big diocese to assist the bishop of that diocese in running the diocese. That means in exercising the ministry of teaching, of sanctifying, and of governing. So an auxiliary is one who comes to help and assist the bishop of the diocese in his works in the diocese.
During the ordination, you said that the appointment of a bishop or auxiliary bishop It's not like the appointment of politicians or administrators. It's just about the will, the choice of God, and God alone. Tell us about this.
Yes, you see, people begin to look at the office of bishop like ministerial positions in government. And that is why I use the chance to explain to people that the auxiliary bishop or the choice of a bishop does not follow principles of regional balancing. Because you have had one from the southwest, you will now have one from the northwest, or because you have had one from south, you will have one from Com. It doesn't work like that. It is the choice of God, and I said, through the careful discernment of legally deputed ecclesiastical authorities. And it is the Pope alone who makes this choice of who he wants to be bishop. And I think in this case, Bishop John was chosen. And it is not a secret how bishops are made. They always submit what we call a terna, a list of 3 names, where the Rome carries out extensive investigation about the human qualities, spiritual courage qualities, moral rectitude of that candidate, and the candidate's groundedness in the teachings of the church and the workings of the church. And then all these things culminate on the Holy Father's table, and he alone chooses from what he sees in front of him. So it's a very, very tight process. But this time we are happy that we have Bishop.
Then a link between his appointment and the fact that he was abducted by armed men. He gave an ultimatum to the armed men to release him. He even threatened them that they were going to march to their camp. And finally, he was released. Is there any connection between that? Because his appointment came just after that.
Yeah, you see, the appointment of a bishop takes very long. It can take 1 or 2 years. And it's the same for the Archdiocese of Bamenda, that the process had been going on for more than a year. So there was no connection between his abduction or the time he spent in captivity and his choice by the Holy Father as bishop. No, there's no connection.
There is no connection. Right. What's the symbol of the ordination?
The symbol of the ordination, in short, is a consecration. You saw what happened today during the rite of ordination. And that during that rite, the consecrating bishop, the principal consecrator, anoints the head of the candidate, the bishop-elect. The entire head of the candidate is anointed with the mystical oil of chrism. And when that head is anointed, it's a symbol of consecration, so that that person acts in the person of Christ the head, in persona Christi capitis, in the person of Christ who is the head of his body, the church. So that is the symbol of ordination, that this person is consecrated and set apart. And this is a tradition which we have inherited from apostolic days, that the apostles chose their successors through the laying on of hands and the anointing, and it has come down onto our days. And that is why, like I said, if you trace the lineage of every bishop, it must go back to one of the apostles.
During the ordination, there was a statement that was read saying that the diocese wants you to ordain the auxiliary bishop, and you asked the question if there was a mandate from the apostle. And following that question, there was a piece of paper that was presented to Nick, and then you went on. What's the symbol of all that?
That is very significant because the Holy Father, the Pope, is the only one who has the prerogative to appoint bishops in the Catholic Church. And any bishop who goes ahead to consecrate another bishop without apostolic mandate is late sententiae excommunication. That is automatic excommunication from the Catholic Church. And therefore, when a bishop is appointed, the Holy Father sends what we call the bull of appointment. And he sends that to the bishop, and addressed to the bishop, dear son. And when he sends that bull to the bishop, then the bishop has to present it to the consecrator. And so it is the local church that asks me, or the principal consecrator, to ordain this man. In line with the law of the church, I must ask the question back to the local church. Do you have a mandate from the Apostolic See? And they say, yes, we have. And then let it be read. They first have to show it to the people. And you will see under the signature of Pope Leo XIV. And when you have that signature of Pope Leo XIV, it is shown out. Let it be read. It cannot be fake. And then once it is read, the bishop now is covered by the law to go ahead with the sacrament of consecration of that bishop. To be honest with you, the bull had arrived the nunciature some time ago, but it's this morning that bull reached Bamenda through the hands of the apostolic nuncio. So it came from Rome and through the nunciature. And the nuncio brought it up, and we had to show the people it's an authentic bull from the Holy See with the signature of Pope Leo, and then it is read. After that reading, the consecrating bishop is covered by the law to go ahead with the rite of ordination.
Give us an understanding of the staff that was given to the auxiliary bishop during the ordination, the ring that was given to him.
These are what we call Episcopal insignias. And we begin, as you say, with the skull cap. This one. This skull cap is worn by the bishop in his role as high priest. So he offers the sacrifice and he wears the skull cap as a sign, a symbol of his role as high priest within the liturgical community. After that, the bishop is given a ring. Every bishop is married to the local church where he works. And every bishop wears that ring as a symbol of his unity with the particular church to which he has been sent. Bishop John, and that's why I mentioned to you that every bishop must have a diocese. Bishop John is the bishop of Casaneri. But because Casaneri does not exist anymore as a functional diocese, he is given that diocese and given a ring as the bishop of Casaneri, and then appointed as auxiliary bishop of Bamenda. The third insignia, which is very important, is the pastoral staff, which we call the crozier. The crozier is a sign of the pastor, Jesus Christ, the good shepherd, who is ready to lay down his life for his sheep. He uses his crozier as the shepherd to gather the sheep into one fold. And this is a very, very important symbol for the bishop as pastor. Gather the fold, gather the sheep into the fold. And every bishop carries that pastoral staff. And then the last insignia is what we call the mitre, the big cap which the bishop wears. That is a sign of the bishop's governance within his diocese and a sign of the righteous crown that we all await for the future. Because like you know, we teach from the Bible that this world is not our home. We are only passing. And at the end of time, we all shall wear a crown. the bishop wears a crown for two reasons. First of all, for his pastoral governance as the chief shepherd, and secondly, as a prefigurement of the crown which we shall all wear at the end of our lives in the kingdom of heaven.
What are your expectations vis-a-vis the auxiliary bishop?
My expectations are very high. Bamenda has close to 75 parishes spread over 5 civil divisions. Therefore, the whole of Ngokitunja, the whole of Boyo, the whole of Menchum, the whole of Momo, and the whole of Mezam. All these belong to the Archdiocese of Bamenda. They constitute the Archdiocese of Bamenda. It is almost impossible, we cannot fool ourselves, that one bishop can comfortably go round all these places adequately, the needs of the people. So the auxiliary bishop has come, and I am very, very confident that he will help me tremendously so that we divide the work, and this part of the diocese and covering the other part of the diocese, and we are rotating. And this will greatly, greatly facilitate the work of the Archbishop and bring the sacraments close to the people.
Your Grace, I want us to go to the newsstands now. And we're looking at the newspapers, what the newspapers reported this week. We'll be right back after the press review. We begin the press review with News. The paper reports that the Public Independent Conciliator for the Southwest region has decried poor waste management by some councils. The Guardian Post exclaims, armed conflict in the Northwest and Southwest regions. Census won't reflect true population of Anglophone regions. According to the paper, fears arise that figures will not be representative as millions have been displaced from both regions, Francophone regions and beyond, while political observers say both regions will be greatly cheated in the envisaged creation of new administrative units and constituencies. On the front page of another issue of the paper, finally, Bia parts way with Nyat and Kavai. The paper reports that the over 3-decade-long rule of the Right Honorable Kavai Yege Jibril at the helm of the National Assembly came to a dramatic end. His peer of the upper house of Parliament, Senator Marcel Nyat Jifenji, was equally offered a deserved rest. Both personalities were voted out during 2 separate plenary sittings held in Yaoundé. And Municipal Update says National Assembly 3rd House Speaker elected since multi-party birth. Abdullahi Abubakari also voted Senate President. The Voice. Beer comes out of sleep hollow. Effects most far-reaching change of tenure. Perennial untouchable Kavai drops as ailing Nyat is granted badly needed rest. Regional representation swapped. Succession pattern in the making. Cameroon Insider. Wind of change sweeps through Parliament. Senator and traditional ruler, His Majesty Abubakari Abdullahi, 64, was elected by his peers as the new Senate President to replace Senator Marcel Nyat Jifenji, who had held the position since the institution went operational in 2013, and at the National Assembly, 66-year-old Honorable Theodore Datuo was voted as the replacement of Right Honorable Kavai Yege Jibril, who had held the position for the past 34 years. Another issue of Municipal Updates tells its readers that as the World Trade Organization Ministerial Confab nears, the Prime Minister, Chief Dr. Joseph Jengute, is mobilizing stakeholders to ensure the success of the events that will take place in the nation's capital, Yaoundé. And according to Cameroon Tribune, Cameroon is ready for the event. The Herald Tribune reports that gold exploitation is positioning Cameroon as a key player in global mineral supply. About the forthcoming visit of Pope Leo XIV to Cameroon, Municipal Update reports Prime Minister Chief Dr. Joseph Jengute's call for smooth preparations. The Guardian Post reports that after his ordination, His Lordship John Tata, Auxiliary Archbishop of Bamenda, pledged selfless stewardship in a ceremony where the Minister of Territorial Administration, Atanganji Paul, was the personal representative of the head of state, Paul Biya. You're welcome back. We're still with our guest, His Grace, NKEA Archbishop of Bamenda and President of the National Episcopal Conference of Cameroon. Now, Your Grace, the Pope is coming to Cameroon. Pope Leo XIV is visiting Cameroon from the 15th to the 18th of April, 2026. What's the importance of this visit?
This visit is very, very important because it is the first visit that Pope Leo is making to Africa since his election as Pope and installation in May last year, 2025. Pope Leo has decided to visit Cameroon, and we are so excited. First of all, that we are so privileged of 145 countries that have invited him in the world. He chooses to come to Cameroon, and that makes us feel quite happy as Catholic Christians. Secondly, you know that we have been going through a lot in our country in terms of political upheavals, in terms of the Anglophone crisis, in terms of attacks of the Boko Haram in the north. So when you get someone like the Pope coming to visit us in our difficulty, we are very, very elated. And we can only say, to God be the glory.
Tell us the content of the pastoral outreach component of his visit.
You see, every papal visit has a theme. And the visit of the Holy Father to Cameroon has as its theme, may they all be one. So the Holy Father's theme already talks to you about unity and peace and love and reconciliation. The Holy Father is coming to us as a messenger of peace. He's coming to us as a preacher of the gospel and the bringer of the good news. He is coming to us as someone who is coming to preach reconciliation. He's going to come to preach justice to the people. The Holy Father is a pastor, the universal pastor. And so the message that a pastor can bring to his sheep is only a message of consolation, a message of love, message of peace, message of reconciliation. That is more or less what the Holy Father will be talking about when he comes to see us. And this makes us very, very excited because we have gone through a lot in this country.
Before we talk about the security conflict in the northwest and southwest regions, the two regions that are in great need of peace because of this tension that's been prevailing here for close to 10 years. Let's talk about the political tensions emanating from the October 12, 2025 presidential election with Issa Chiroma Bakari, who declared himself winner, still on exile. A lot of people still angry and saying that the election was rigged, the results were rigged, and some people deprived of their victory. And so there's still quite a lot of tension in the air with regards to the political landscape of the country. What can Cameroonians expect in this perspective from the visit of the Pope?
I must say something to you that sometimes Cameroonians behave in a very strange way. The last political elections, or the last presidential elections, ended up the way the past 3 or 4 elections are ended. Cameroonians cannot behave as if this is a very exceptional situation. When in 1992 we had elections in October, The incumbent was proclaimed winner. What happened? Cameroonians jumped into the street and Frundi claimed the victory. John Frundi said he had won. They burned places, they went up and down, and etc., etc. The incumbent remained. After some years, they went again for elections. The incumbent was proclaimed winner. Maurice Kamto declared himself the winner. Upheavals again, arrests, and these all kinds of things. And then the incumbent remains. And then suddenly it is Issa Chiroma. The incumbent was declared winner. And then Chiroma claimed victory. And the whole thing started again. You see, Cameroonians, as I said, should take their responsibilities. In the sense that we are not in a strange country. We are in our own country. And we are aware of the history of our country. And so let people not go and push young people to be dying in the streets. We have experience. It has happened, people have died. It has happened again, more people have died. And it's happening again, and more people are dying. Why are Cameroonians doing this to themselves? Why are they doing this to themselves?
So should they give up?
It's not a matter of giving up. It's a matter of seeing what is possible and doing what is possible. One thing we have stressed in the National Episcopal Conference for long, we said, go and register massively. The same people said bishops have eaten soya. Bishops have been given money. So many did not register. The time came for voting. All of them were clapping Issa Chiroma, dancing in the street. They had voting cards in their pockets. And therefore, it's a very delicate thing. We have been talking about the electoral code. And we have been insisting that the electoral code should be revised and made in a way that Cameroonians will be happy. You are going for elections with the present electoral code. How do you want to win? So let us be serious. Let us behave as mature people.
So there was no need calling on Cameroonians to go and register and vote.
If you register massively, massive voting is one big way to avoid fraud.
So how do you respond to those who think that, as far as that is concerned, as far as the governance of the country is concerned, not only the bishop, but the church, the nation?
I want to say, as I said during the ordination of the bishop, the people of the streets of Cameroon know more the work of the bishop than the bishops. Why? Since when? America went into elections, until today Donald Trump is still claiming that he won the elections and Biden stole it. Did you see the Church of America jumping out? Did the Church of America come to declare elections? In this country, we observed elections and we remain at the status of observers. We are not part of the Electoral Commission. We are not part of the Constitutional Council. And why do you expect the church to declare elections? Which facts do we have? Don't ridicule the bishops.
Not to declare elections, but to mount pressure on the administration, on the government, on those managing the elections to do the right thing.
What is the right thing?
Bishops came out to denounce a lot of irregularities before the election, but after the election, we've not heard the bishops speaking again. And this is where the people are saying that the bishops have failed them.
The bishops have not failed anybody because we have asked Cameroonians to take their responsibility. You go and hide behind bishops. Mr. Babila, let me tell you something. If I wanted to do politics, I would not be wearing clerical robes. And if I stood for elections and won, I'll be the president. But people are sitting there. Most of those who are shouting have escaped their abroad. You want who to go and shout for you? Once you enter politics, be ready to give your neck to be cut and stand and die for the truth. Don't go and hide somewhere and start shouting, where are the bishops? Where are the bishops? Did I agree to go and do politics with you? This is the problem, that you sit down and concoct what you want from the church and the bishops, and you start putting that out on social media and making it look like that is the work of the bishops. That's not the work of the bishops. We put out on the 1st of March a letter concerning the elections. We put out clearly what the church teaches about elections. We put out clearly the kind of candidate we thought that Cameroonians should vote. Babila, I should come and hold your hand and vote for you. So I think the church is doing its work as far as what we are expected to do is possible.
So, Your Grace, what will be the message of the Pope in that perspective, in that light? We're talking about peace and reconciliation. People are divided on political lines because of the grievances emanating from the October 12 presidential election.
You see, there are two things I must say to you. Number one, the Pope is the leader, world leader of the Catholic Church, spiritually. But at the same time, the Pope is the head of state of the Vatican City state. He is going to come here on dual invitation. Invitation of the church and the invitation of the state. When he comes here, the first thing he'll do after his arrival is to pay a courtesy call to the head of state of Cameroon. What he will say to the head of state, Mr. Babila, I don't know. This will be a discussion between two heads of state. Me, I'm not a head of state. I'm only a small pastor in Bamenda. So how do you want me to know what the head of state of the Vatican will be talking to the head of state of Cameroon? So I don't know what they will say. The Holy Father is coming. We have our expectations. And our expectations fall within the fact that he will speak to us about peace. He will speak to us about reconciliation. He will speak to us about justice. He will speak to us about love. What he will say and how he will say it, Mr. Babila, I can't say to you. This man, the Holy Father, is a man who is full of wisdom and the Holy Spirit. And therefore, let us allow the Holy Spirit to blow him and to inspire him to say what he wants to say. If I knew what he would say, I would have said it before he comes. But since he is coming, he will come and say what he is coming to say.
His first message in Cameroon will be in Bamenda, according to the program. And he's coming to a town, a region plagued by security tensions. And the people are expecting to hear something that will direct the region, the other sister region, the southwest, touch that path of restoration of normalcy and peace, because peace is one of the core aspects of the mission that he has in Cameroon. First of all, what is the situation within the northwest region as we speak now?
You see, the northwest region has gone through this crisis with a lot of intensity. We have relative calm in the northwest region, but the situation is very far from being over. You just mentioned my auxiliary bishop was kidnapped before his appointment. As we speak, there are people who have been kidnapped and have not yet been released. So the political tension, the hostility, and the violence is still there. The coming of the Holy Father, he's not coming here as a broker or a facilitator of peace between the warring factions. That's not why he's coming here. He's coming here as a pastor to appeal to consciences of all those who are involved. And I think let us not expect that the Holy Father will come here and give instructions either to Cameroon government or give instructions to the separatist fighters. No, he can do that. He's coming here.
Of course, Cameroon is a sovereign country.
It's a sovereign country.
And cannot receive instructions from another state, from another country.
So this is what I want Cameroonians to understand, that Cameroon is a sovereign country. Cameroonians are behaving as if the Holy Father will come here and give instructions to Cameroonian authorities. Not possible. That's not why he's come. He's coming here as a pastor. And the pastor's work is to appeal to consciences. And that is what we are expecting the Holy Father to come and do.
Before we go further, there were a lot of people who were asking questions when they heard the Archbishop giving an ultimatum to the armed men who kidnapped the priest, and saying that he and Christians will march to the separatist camps. Did you really intend to go to the separatist camps with the Christians? Because some were saying, I heard some say, shall we go and die with the bishop?
I was ready to go alone anyway, to go and look for my priest. And sometimes it's annoying when they take a priest or they take another person, the father of a family, the mother of a family, and they keep that person incommunicado. And then they start pressing for ransom. I have said that the church has no money for ransom. And therefore, the only way was to go myself physically and take my priest. But thanks be to God, my Christians decided to go there before me. I thank in a very special way the women, the Catholic women of Baba, who went to that camp a couple of times to negotiate the liberation of the priest, even before the date of the Archbishop came. And that is how the problem was solved. There was a march to the camp anyway. The women went there. And that is why we are not talking much about it. But there was a movement towards the camp, and that's how the negotiations stimulated to the point of liberation.
Was there any payment?
No. We are not paying ransom. You start your own way.
As a global pastor, as a global religious leader, some are expecting that the Pope can come in as a mediator, that the Cameroon government can ask him to plead with him to come in as a mediator, or should plead with him to come in as a mediator to help resolve this conflict.
I can only say to you that, Mr. Babila, a lot of things are already going on, and I cannot jump into saying things that are not right. But a lot of things are already going on.
All right. Tell us more about justice and reconciliation. You mentioned justice and reconciliation. And from analysts, from experts in conflict resolution, we learn that peace cannot come without justice. Reconciliation cannot come without justice. Because if people reconcile and still keep the anger, the frustration, the disappointment over the death of one of theirs, over the imprisonment of one of theirs, that reconciliation will not stand the test of time. And so justice has to come first, and then reconciliation.
Mr. Babila, you are talking to a Christian leader. And my Magna Carta is the scriptures. This is, I don't know who quoted this to you, but my master, who employed me, and with whom I'm expecting to spend my eternity, taught me that.
You're talking about the Lord Jesus.
Of course. He taught me that when they slap your right jaw, turn the left one, let them slap. If they take your coat, follow and give your shirt as well. If they ask you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles. He ended up by saying, offer the wicked man no resistance. What you are trying to do, and which the social media is trying to promote, is going back to the law of Hammurabi. Hammurabi said, tooth for tooth, eye for eye. If that is what you call justice, it's absolutely not Christian. When we look at the traditions of the church has always taught that if you want to stop a war, you don't count the corpses. And when we say if you want to stop a war, don't count the corpses, it means that if 5 people have died on this side and 10 have died on the other side, you have to kill 5 more here to balance the 10 before. Is that what you call justice?
No, justice in terms of ensuring that, for example, those who killed innocent people, who killed or who destroyed properties, livelihoods, should be punished according to the law.
I am totally with you. This is what the church teaches also about justice as a cardinal virtue. If you commit a crime, pay for it according to the laws of the land. But to say that there can be no peace without justice means that you want to make the human society a perpetually sad and unpeaceful society. Because if you follow that justice, you see a lot of human injustice in the society, sadly enough. But with justice is a continuous struggle. Can you quote me one just society in the world? Quote me one just society. Every society, as long as it's human, keeps trying to perfect its justice. But you can do this only by being peaceful. And therefore, you continue to work for justice. And that's why the most developed countries in this world have courts. They have tribunals. And which means that people are constantly committing crimes, and they are being tried, and they are being judged. Those against whom those crimes are committed, if you expect the court to give the criminal who wronged you life imprisonment, and they give him 10 years, and you keep sulking because they must give him life imprisonment before you consider it justice, then you will sulk for the rest of your life. There is something we call letting go so that peace can reign. Letting go meaning that it must not always be the way you want. Sometimes you wish for something and you don't get the thing exactly as you wanted it. For the sake of the peace of that society, move on. But if you don't want to move on, Mr. Babila, the society will remain permanently in war. So when people say that there can be no peace without justice, I am very, very careful in quoting that, because we must live in peace and every day in our lives try to perfect justice. This is how I see it.
Let's take some interviews now, and when we come back, we'll look at the reconciliation perspective of the Pope's mission to Cameroon.
The significance of this coat of arms, it comes from the Gospel of John, chapter 15, verse 13. No one has greater love than to lay down his life for his friends. And it also comes from the words of Jesus Christ in the Garden of Gethsemane. Not my will, but your will be done. And so my life, I desire that it should be a life of charity. Laying down my life for my friends. Laying down my life for the people of God. And to live in humble obedience to the will of God. that it may not be my will that I'm doing, but that it should be the will of God that I'm going to do.
We are very happy to see the Bamenda Archdiocese with an auxiliary bishop. We are so pleased. Let him come to raise the morale of our Christians here in the Archdiocese. Well, I think his coming is so timely. We think so many things might change in the diocese.
Emerging as the best female presenter for 2025 brings so much joy and also encouragement, so that we continue to do what we know how to do best, that is practice journalism professionally. And thank Equinoxe Radio and Television, especially the management who gave me this opportunity to do what I know how to do best, practice journalism, you know. And also it somehow pushes us to do better. We know the terrain is not that easy for us, but with passion and with encouragement from our bosses, we are ready to give in our best.
I just want to thank, first of all, the top management of Equinoxe. I want to express my gratitude to my family, especially to my mother. I'm very happy, and I want to say thank you very much to my colleagues and all the women and men. We are there every Sunday for the debates. Thank you very much. And I want to finish by thanking the Almighty God for His blessings. I hope that tomorrow will be better.
It's a real pleasure for me, you know. That's the third time, as you said. These students, they won the prize, the best program between 10 to 12. And a pleasure for me. I just wanted to thank all the team of these students. They need technicians, all the chronicles, all these guys who make a great job in this program. And I just also wanted to take the top management of Equinoxe Television. They gave me the possibility to lead this program. You know, that's the best program in this time. That's the best program, and for the third time, it's cannot describe the sensation that actually it's always different when you have this prize.
You're welcome back, Your Grace. Can Cameroonians hope that the coming of the Pope will help reconcile them, will help bring to the middle those who are at the extremes?
Yes, I think this is a very important point. When Pope Benedict XVI came to Africa in 2009, Pope Benedict, when we held the second synod for Africa, it was on peace, reconciliation, and justice, published in the post-synodal apostolic exhortation, Nous. And in that Nous, you remember we had a lot of problems in other African countries, Rwanda, etc., and all of this. You see, when you have greed is the root of a lot of problems in Africa. And when the Holy Father, Pope Benedict, came here that time, he talked about reconciling with one another. Let communities be able to see who has wronged who. Be able to forgive one another. And when you forgive one another, try to see how to better the relationship in the future. Reconciliation is very, very important for us. The word reconciliation goes along with the word forgiveness. Forgiveness is what makes us to be able to reconcile. If forgiveness did not take place, Rwandese will not be able to live together until today. But because of the small community courts, because of the small community facilitators, people were able to look at each other in the face, tell them the truth, and at the end say, I forgive you. If that does not happen, it is difficult. The other thing about reconciliation is that you should be able to do restitution. If you have taken somebody's thing, give it back. If you owe somebody's money, pay it. Don't keep my money in your pocket and then start telling me that just forgive now. Jesus said, forgive one another and reconcile. What are we reconciling? Bring my money first. So reconciliation is important. But all these are aspects that govern reconciliation. Forgiveness, restitution, and the ability to do contrition. Be sorry for what you have done and be ready to move on. So if you come talking to me arrogantly, what kind of reconciliation do you want? So the Holy Father is going to, if he talks about reconciliation, he's going to talk principally about forgiveness. Forgiveness is requested and is given. Those who have wronged others ask for forgiveness. And those who have been wronged give forgiveness. So it's a give and take. I can't be chasing you in the bush to catch you and forgive you. No. Come out and say, I'm sorry. And I will in turn say, I forgive you. This is proper Christian reconciliation.
God, in His word, wants us humans to forgive and continue to forgive and continue to forgive no matter how many times we are wronged. That's why He talks about 70 times 7.
Yeah.
Now, the question, many Northwest and Southwesterners listening to you now would be asking, shall we continue to forgive and continue to perish and continue to be discriminated upon and continue to be deprived of that which is ours and continue to be deprived of our right to self-determination?
What are these depravities you're talking about? You see, don't take your personal opinion and make it the opinion of West Cameroonians.
We're interviewing people every day,
Yes.
and I'm bringing to you now what they are saying.
Yes, so what I'm saying to you is that let West Cameroonians be able to say what they want in any form they want to say it, and then defend themselves. Don't sit down somewhere and come and tell me the right to what they are. Looking at a country that beginning from the far north, when you go to Yagua, for example, and you see life in Yagua, and you come and go to Yokaduma, and you see life in the east, and then you come and go to some of the extreme parts of our archdiocese, from Fuka, Isu, go down to Bauru, Benakuma, Eshimbi. You see, we should be able to look at the country as an ensemble, as a whole. You have a right to ask the questions that you ask. You have a right to your political opinion and your desire for self-determination. But don't make as if that your right supersedes the right of any other person in the community. And this is what we are saying. Somebody decides that he wants independence. I say, no, I prefer federation. I am a blackleg. Who gave you the monopoly of truth? Don't I have a right to my own opinion? So why do you call me a blackleg? Why do you call me a sellout? Because my opinion does not agree with yours. This is what democracy is. That the majority prevails and the minority gives into that majority. This is democracy. And therefore, listen to everybody and let the majority opinion prevail. Don't be so convinced in your opinion that you are ready to kill because somebody does not agree with your own opinion. You and me can disagree politically, but we remain the best of friends. You want independence, I want federation, or I want unity state. But that doesn't make me your enemy. And this is what we're talking about. Fine-tune your political ideas. And once you think that the one who does not agree with you, you call yours a right. So what is mine? We must be open to listen to others and be ready to enter into debate to see whose idea is better and we adopt it. And this is where we say that force comes in when reason fails. When people can no longer argue and debate, they take the cutlass and start killing each other. Mr. Babila, nobody can claim absolute ideas. Listen to others. And sometimes with the passage of time, your own ideas will improve. Don't call anybody blackleg. And don't call a political opinion your right. It's not.
Of course, even God does not impose himself on people. That's why Jesus says, I stand at the door, I knock. If you open,
I enter.
I come in. Therefore, opinions must be respected.
Yes.
What others think must be respected, whether they agree with what you think or not.
Respect people's opinions.
During the ordination of the auxiliary bishop of Bamenda, you highlighted the fact that the Pope's first message, Pope Leo XIV's first message in Cameroon, will be here in Bamenda. What's the symbolic importance of that?
Mr. Babila, if you look at Cameroon, the history of our country, the political events that have characterized our daily lives, Bamenda has suffered. Northwest and Southwest, we have suffered. We have gone through all kinds of things from all kinds of hands. The fact that the Pope is landing and coming to Bamenda to start his first message here is very, very symbolic to us. And the symbol is coming from Isaiah chapter 49, where God says to his people, can a woman forget a child at her breast? Can a woman forget the child she bore in her womb? Even if all these forget you, I will never forget you. So the coming of the Pope here is symbolic to us that God is talking to us and showing us a sign that he can never forget us. And this is what brings us so much consolation. Even if the Pope were to arrive here and say nothing, the fact that he put his foot on our soil, it is a sign to us that God has not abandoned his people. God has not forgotten his people. This is the symbolism for us of him coming first to Bamenda. He could go anywhere else, that's no problem. But the fact that he is coming to us shows that God has not abandoned his people. That in all the darkness we have seen, finally a great light has shone. The people walking in darkness have seen a great light. And we have said to ourselves, and I believe very strongly, that the Pope cannot come here and go back and leave us the same. Something must change. What will change, I cannot tell you definitively, but I'm convinced that he will not leave us the same. Something will change.
Your Grace, I want you to look straight into this camera in front of you and see the people of the Northwest region and see the people of Cameroon. I want you to send a message to the people of the Northwest region first as the Archbishop of Bamenda, and then to the people of Cameroon as the President of the National Episcopal Conference about peace and reconciliation.
My dear people of Bamenda, we have gone through a lot together. And now that the Pope is coming, it is like the dawn from on high that has broken upon us. It is like God himself is coming to visit his people. And so we should be open to receive the Holy Father with love, with generosity, with open-mindedness, and above all, the readiness to listen to his message. To listen to his message. And definitely, as a pastor the good shepherd that he is. His message will be a message of peace. His message will be a message of reconciliation. His message will be a message of justice. Together, let us see how to put his words into practice when you come and talk to us. And for the church in Cameroon and people of goodwill in Cameroon, people have asked me many times why the choice of Cameroon, that the Holy Father should come here. And I've said to them, it is only divine favor. We cannot explain ourselves why the Holy Father would choose to come to Cameroon at this time. We can only say that God has blessed us, God has favored us, and we receive this favor. At the same time, we should not waste the visit of the Pope. We should see the visit of the Holy Father as a chance to stop some of the ills that are spoiling our society, to stop the corruption, stop the hate language, stop the exclusivity that characterizes our dealings, stop some of the inconsistencies in the life that we are living, stop some of the hatred and manipulation of others. Let us not waste the Pope's coming. And above all, let us be able as a country to see how we can forge ahead, move ahead together, showing love to one another and treating one another as true Cameroonians. Nobody is a stranger in this country. We are all Cameroonians and we must enjoy the national cake equally, without fear, without favor. We are one. We must continue to work together and look at others as people who have blood in their veins. Let us not waste the trip of the Holy Father by receiving him and continuing in our own ways. Let us receive him, stop wars, stop hatred, stop corruption, stop immorality, stop all those things, and start afresh. This is the second chance that God has given us through the Holy Father's visit to Cameroon. Thank you very much.
Your Grace, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for making out time for us despite your busy schedule.
Thank you, Mr. Bamenda, and you are welcome. They don't come too often.
All right. Thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us. That's it for this edition of The Insight. God bless Cameroon. God bless Africa. Goodbye.